وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. I will wait for a couple of people to join, inshallah, to see if they can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. We have somebody who's already joined. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, okay, please, inshallah. And we'll take it from there. We'll give people maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes. We'll let the timer get to 5 minutes, inshallah, and then we'll rock and roll, as they say. And we'll get into the reading of episode 14 of the series, Layla with Dhib, inshallah. Cool. Who's come to join me, by the way? Send me a message, please, or give me a thumbs up or something so that I know you can hear me, and we'll get started. This is a little tick I have, by the way. I find myself just holding those for some reason. I know it's stable, but it's just a little nervous tick that I have. Good. Cool. Okay. We'll wait for some people to join, inshallah. Usually we have a handful of people, but if not, we'll get into the recording. For anybody who's watching the replay of this later, just skip ahead to minute 5, and that's when we'll actually start the proper video. At the moment, we'll just kind of welcome people who are turning up to the live recording of it, and we'll take it from there. Cool. There might also be some people from the San Martin Burt Instagram as well. I was just live over there talking about my life in Somalia and stuff. So people said they were going to come and join, but they might be busy with something else. Yes, if they're in Somalia, it's later here, obviously. We're 3 hours ahead of the UK. Yeah. I look tired. I don't feel tired, by the way. It looks like I'm red around my eyes. But, yeah. And also, I will give you a warning. I will be sweating as well through this, because it is hot here. And also I've got hot lights on. I might ask you guys at some point, can I just turn those off and not see me glowing so much? Because it is so hot. So, yeah, I will be sweating through this. But there you go. What can we do? Okay, a couple of minutes, inshallah, and we'll get started. We'll get started in 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes, and we will get the show on the road. 3 of you here, assalamu alaikum. How are you guys this evening? Thank you so much for coming to join me. We will do the lesson. The actual lesson from Layla with Dhib will only take 20 minutes, maybe something like that. We'll talk through it. I'll read through it one time for you guys, and we'll talk through the word for word of it. And then after that, I'll open the floor to any other questions that you guys have, inshallah. Good. So for any of you guys actually who are here, actually that's something we should do. Let me get the link to the book, because we'll need that, because I'm doing this live. I'm not going to have the actual passage up on the screen, so you guys will need to go and get the book. I'll get the link for it and I'll put it in the description below, inshallah. I'll spend the next 2 minutes making sure that we do that. Cool. Okay, let's go to your channel. Let's go to a previous video, and let's get the link that we need. Okay, I've got the link, and I will stick it in the section below. Okay, thank you for liking the video, by the way. The 2 of you that are here, thank you very much. Apparently that's like the most important thing with the YouTube algorithms. The most important thing, yeah, is likes on a video. Cool. Right, where are we? Live. Let's go to this live video. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the description. Follow along in the book here. Today we are on page 13. So any of you guys who have the book, go to page 13, please, inshallah. And then that's what we'll read from. On page 13. Cool. Okay, if you haven't got the book, you should be able to see it in the description very soon. Assalamu alaikum. 4 of you here now. Alhamdulillah. How are you guys today? I can't see anything in the chat, by the way. I don't know if my phone will deprive me of seeing the chat. Maybe I need to see it on my laptop, if there is one. Subhanallah. It is hot here, and we have flies, mosquitoes. We have kanara. Kanara in Somalia is mosquitoes. We have bambara. Bambara, I think, is cockroaches. Dihsi, flies. Iluene, they're the big eyes, they're the lizards. Good. Okay, where are we? 5 minutes in, so let's get the ball rolling, inshallah. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And a very warm welcome back to episode 14 of this Arabic walkthrough series that we're doing of the Arabic story, Layla with Dhi'b. So thank you very much for your patience. Those of you guys, it's been a little while since we did our last episode. My wife has had to go back to the UK very briefly for a medical reason, and I was holding the fort down with my boys by myself. So that was a distraction from work, but alhamdulillah, we're back to it. And we'll have more videos coming out in the coming month, inshallah. We have more guests lined up for the Arabic in 60 Steps podcast. And we also have some ideas for some shorter videos as well. So let's get into it. So obviously, because this is live, I'm not going to be able to put the passage up on the screen that we usually do. So I'll give you guys a second to go into the description of this video and look at the book and go to page 13. For those of you who aren't yet reading Arabic numbers, it's like a 1, like in English. And then if you were to get a number 3, turn it sideways like that. That's what the 3 is. So we'll go and we'll find page 13. There will be a picture on page 13 that looks like this. That's what page 13 will look like. Inshallah. Also, I've just realized my laptop isn't charging, so we're going to make sure that's charging so it doesn't die on us halfway through. Bismillah. Okay, good. So let's stick to the usual format that the students usually like. We will stick to reading through the whole passage in the Arabic language, and then we'll do a breakdown afterwards of it. So let's go. We're reading from انطلق الذئب all the way down to يقلد صوتها. So let's have a go. So, انطلق الذئب في الحجرات بحث عن ثياب الجدة العجوز. لبس منها وحاول أن يجعل شكله يقارب شكلها. وجعل يتمرن على أن يكون صوته يشبه صوتها. أراد أن ينتظر ليلى وأن يستهزئ بها وهو في صورة جدتها. ذهب الذئب إلى الباب ووقف خلفه ينتظر حضور ذات الرداء الأحمر. لم يرى الجدة ولم يسمع صوتها، فتأكد له أنها نائمة في إحدى حجرات المنزل. كان الذئب بين حين وحين ينظر من خلف الباب إلى الطريق، فلما لمح ليلى آتية على بعد استعد ليلقاها ويوهمها أنه جدتها العجوز حين تراه في ملابسها يقلد صوتها. Very nice. Okay, so I think this actually continues in the previous lesson where we learned about how to insult old women because the dhi'b was very aggressive to the Jaddat al-Ajuza, to the elderly grandmother, where he put her in the cupboard and he told her to close her mouth and other rudenesses. So actually, before we go into the word for word, I have an announcement actually, and this will very much help with me being so hot. So this is what I look like now, by the way. I've announced this to some of my other audiences as a little heads up for you guys, but this is what I look like now. I have short hair like this because my sons had their hair cut yesterday, and and they were not very happy about it. So I thought I would join them in the journey and I'd have my hair cut very short as well. And it'll be helpful to keep me cooler as well, inshallah. Good, so let's get into it. So, ما معنى انطلق? انطلق يعني to go in somewhere. انطلق يعني go in. So, الذئب, he went in. The dhi'b went in في الحجرات. We learnt about this term حجرات, meaning like the back rooms of a house. الحجرات are the back rooms of a house. نعم. There is a surah of the Quran called Surah Al-Hujurat, referring to the rooms in a house. Good. بحث عن ثياب الجدة العجوز. So he بحث means to look for something in this case. It means to look for. But بحث عن, more specifically, we use عن with it. He looked for the ثياب الجدة. He looked for the clothing. ثياب, is a word generically for clothing. We in the West, we tend to associate the term thawb and anything like it with like Islamic clothing, but it's not necessarily. Good. In this case, ثياب really just means malabis. It means clothing. Good. The clothing of al-jaddat al-ajuzi, of the elderly grandmother. لبس منها. He wore from it. He wore from the thiyab, right? So he got dressed from the thiyab. وحاول أن يجعل شكله. حاول هذا الفعل فعل مفيد جدا. This verb is a very useful verb. حاول, it means to attempt or to try to do something. Not to try as in to taste something. Like if you're in a restaurant and you're going to taste something, you use the verb جرب for that. أجربها, I will try it. But when you try as in you attempt something, نستخدم هذا الفعل. We use this verb. نعم. حاول أن يجعل. He tried to make. الفعل يجعل من جعل يعني to make something. Not necessarily to make as in build something, to make something into something. Just as Allah says, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْأَرْضَ مِهَادًا. Did we not make the earth a mihad, like a resting place? To make something into something, right? To make something a certain way. So he tried to make shaklahu, his shakl. Your shakl is generally your appearance, right? Like, or it can be a way that you're doing something. Arabs often say bishakl aam, in a general way, right? Bishakl aam means sort of generally in Arabic. But your shakl can also mean your appearance. If I'm talking like you look like a certain way, shaklak, something, right? Good. Shakl يعني a appearance. So he tried to make his appearance يقارب شكلها. يقارب, it means to be close to. Right, he tried to make his appearance يقارب شكلها. We're in the second line now for those of you following along. Good. He tried to make his appearance close to her appearance, right, as in the appearance of the جدة العجوزة. Good. وجعل يتمرن على. Good. So the verb تمرن على means to practice something. Generally we use the form 3 verb مارس to mean to practice something, but marrana means to like to exercise something, to practice something. Good. So he started to practice أن يكون صوته يشبه صوتها. He started to make his voice يشبه صوتها. He started to make his voice. يشبه is from a form 4 verb actually. أشبه means to resemble, right? He tried to make his voice resemble صوتها, resemble her salt, resemble her voice. Good. Okay, where are we? We are in the next paragraph now, starting with أراد. أراد أن ينتظر. أراد يعني to want. أراد is maybe the most generic term for wanting something in Arabic. And it's probably the most corrupted word and most replaced word actually that we find in spoken dialects. Like if you go to Egypt, for saying I want, you'll find people say أنا عايز. You'll rarely find people say أنا أريد. And if you go to Sham, you'll find people say أنا بدي, like I want, rather than أنا أريد. But this is a form 4 verb as well, and it's hollow. So we go from أراد يريد. But he wanted أن ينتظر. He wanted انتظر يعني to wait. Urdu speakers among you will know the term intizar. There's a meaning waiting. Intizar karke. That's in like some Bollywood movie or whatever that I've heard once. Good. انتظر يعني to wait. So he awaited Layla. He awaited Layla. What for? وأن يستهزئ بها. Good. The verb استهزأ means to mock. To make a joke, but it's a joke at someone's expense. Now, yes, it's different to the Arabic word mizah. Mizah is having jokes that are kind of like friendly jokes at no one's expense. Mizah. Yeah, mizah and istihza, they are two different things. The istihza is at someone's expense. And in the classes which talk about what is halal and what is not, istihza is a jahl. It is ignorant. Just as in the passage in Surah Al-Baqarah, what is it? The conversation between Bani Israel and Musa alayhi salam. They say, like, are you mocking us? And he says, أعوذ بالله أن أكون من الجاهلين. I seek refuge with Allah that I'll be one of the jahilin. So from this we know that doing istihza is a jahl. There's actually a story that one of my previous teachers told me. I can't give a reference for this, but it's a story for us to take a wisdom from. That there was like a qadi in Iraq, and he made a joke to someone who came to ask him a question. And the person who was asking the question said, لا تجهل, said, don't be ignorant. And the qadi says to him, وَأَيْنَ وَجَدْتَ الْمِزَاحَ جَهَلًا. But where did you find that al-mizaha is a jahl? Because al-mizah is not a jahl. There are times when there were jokes that the Prophet ﷺ, he laughed at, and there were lots of jokes. Anyway, I digress. The wolf wanted to mock her. He wanted to kind of make a joke out of her. وَهُوَ في صورة جدتها, and he is in the picture or the appearance, right? He's in the surah with a sad, not surah with a sin. That means like a surah of the Quran, but a surah. That can be confusing because they actually have the same plural. Surah, it means a picture or an image, right? And a surah with a sin, the plural which is suwar, means a surah of the Quran. Anyway, so he wanted to mock her by being in the appearance of her grandmother. Very nice. ذهب الذئب إلى الباب. Good, so the ذئب went إلى الباب, to the door. ووقف خلفه, and he وقف يعني he stopped. And he stopped خلفه, he stopped behind it. The who referring to the bab, right? Good. ينتظر حضور ذات الرداء الأحمر. He waited for the حضور. The حضور, it means the appearance, right? For her to appear, or for her to be present, right? For her to become present. It could have just as easily said ينتظر وصول ذات الرداء الأحمر. The وصول, as in the arrival, would mean the exact same thing. But حضور is about her kind of turning up. Good. And then ذات الرداء الأحمر is the word that we learned meaning Little Red Riding Hood, right? Literally the owner of the rida, of the robe, al-ahmar, the red, the owner of the red robe. لم يرى الجدة. He did not see. لم يرى. لم meaning didn't. Yara is from the verb ra'a in the past tense, which means to see. In the present tense, yara, he sees. But in this case, we have yara, because after lam, the verb has to be what we call majzoom, means it's kind of squeezed. Majzoom. وَلَمْ يَسْمَعْ, and he did not hear. He did not see, and he did not hear صوتها, and he did not hear her voice. Good. فَتَأَكَّدَ لَهُ أَنَّهَا نَائِمَةٌ. تأكد يعني to be certain of something. مثلا من الممكن أن أقول, it's possible for me to say أنا متأكد. I am certain. I am certain, right? متأكد يعني certain. أو بالعكس أنا لست متأكدا. I am not certain. جيد. It became certain to him له فتأكد له أنها نائمة, that she is نائمة. ما معنى نائمة؟ نائمة من الفعل نام. نائمة is the اسم فاعل, is the one doing the sleeping. نائم. Good. So he became certain that she's sleeping. Okay. So unless this is at night, he could have actually used قائل. قائلة, he could have said, because she could be having a qaylula, in which case we'd say that she is قائلة. Yes, for sleeping, but we've used na'ima. Maybe the reason for that is that the author wants to keep the language more accessible, so we avoid some nuance. في إحدى حجرات المنزل, in one of the حجرات المنزل, in one of the back rooms of the منزل. كان الذئب بين حين وحين. So this expression بين حين وحين, it means like to do something sort of every once in a while, right? حين really means while something's going on. حين is like when or while something, as I say, is happening. But to do something once in a while, كان الذئب بين حين وحين. The wolf, every once in a while, the wolf was ماذا يفعل؟ ينظر من خلف الباب. He is ينظر. He is looking من خلف الباب. He is looking from behind the bab. Good. إلى الطريق. At the road. He's behind the bab and he's looking at the road. From behind the bab. فلما لمح ليلى آتية على بعد. Oh, very nice. Okay. فلما. Fa is a separate word to lamma. Fa is sort of so. Okay, we can nicely translate it as so. We don't need to complicate it more than that. Lamma, so when. We say lamma when we are kind of saying when something happened. We're accounting something that happened in the past. لما وصلت كذا وكذا. When I arrived, this and that happened. Okay. فلما لمح يعني to glimpse, when he glimpsed something. So when he glimpsed Layla آتية, so when she was coming. من الفعل أتى آتي يعني when she was arriving, when she was coming. على بعد means from a distance. نعم بعد يعني a distance. على بعد means from a distance. He glimpsed her, or she glimpsed her coming from a distance. He glimpsed her. So when he glimpsed, meaning the wolf. So when he glimpsed Layla coming from a distance, استعد, he prepared. استعد يعني to prepare something. استعد ليلقاها. He prepared. يلقاها. He prepared to meet her. He prepared to meet her. ويوهمها. Very nice. من الفعل أوهم. The actual verb is أوهم, meaning to lure someone. He prepared to lure her. To lure her. Lure her. Lure her. أنه جدتها. He prepared to lure her that he was her جدة, that he was her grandmother العجوز. حين تراها, when she sees him, في ملابسها, in her clothing. The author earlier in the text, I said at the beginning, used the term ثياب. I mean, the author here, في ثيابها, it would really mean the same thing. Good. في ملابسها. Good. يقلد صوتها. يقلد يعني to imitate. The term قلد means to imitate something. And the masdar from that is تقليد. تقليد is actually like a shara'i term as well, meaning to imitate a scholar or something. If you do taqleed in a particular matter, it means you hear what the shaykh says and you do it because the shaykh says it. This is taqleed. Yeah. But it means to imitate, right? It means to imitate. It's imitation. صوتها, that he imitates her salt, her voice. The salt, يعني the voice, and it also means the sound. You'll sometimes, like, it can be used for the sounds of animals, or the sound of anything, the sound of a microphone or anything at all. Arabic uses the same word for voice and for sound. It uses salt for both of them. Sometimes if you speak English with Arabs who are new to learning English, they might say, lower your sound. They might use the word sound. I remember my speaking partner when I was in university in Palestine. My speaking partner, he used to say to me, lower your sound. Yes, he said, lower your sound to me. Very nice. So, that is it for today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And also, I did give you a warning. I would be sweating today. I'd be hot. I'd be bothered. We need to find a good solution to this because, as a lot of you guys know, I live in Somalia now, and it's hot here. I've got air conditioning, and I've got a fan, but the fan's noisy. The air conditioning, I have it on for brief periods, but I don't trust the electricity enough yet. Because sometimes we have appliances that demand a lot of electricity like that, the electricity goes out. It's happened a few times with that. So we're going to get that fixed. But for the meantime, deal with it. You guys have got to deal with sweaty, receding hairline Sam. So presentation value is at an all-time low. But you guys are the best viewers in the business. So I'm sure you guys won't be put out by it. Do you have any questions for me, inshallah? Is there anything I can help you guys with? What we'll do is, yes, we're finished with that text now. I'm going to put it to the side. And yes, we don't really need that now. I'm going to put it here. I might bring the camera around so you guys are a bit closer to me maybe. And if you have any questions at all or you just want to chat about anything, then we can do that for the rest of the time, inshallah. Any questions at all, you can get them ready. And let me bring you round so I'll have you closer to me. And my microphone doesn't need to be all the way around there. I'll bring you closer. Let's bring you around. Bismillah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's have you guys here. Okay, guys, can you hear me okay? I'll put you guys here. Let's move you around like this. There we go. That's more intimate, isn't it? Those of you guys who have liked the video, thank you so much. Those of you guys who've liked the video, apparently that's like YouTube's big metric these days. That's the one that they really care about. They want you to be liking videos. So, who's here, by the way? I'm going to check the chat actually in a second. See if there are any questions that I haven't caught up on. Bismillah. There we go. There we go. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's have a look at the chat. See if anybody has said hello to me. Bismillah. Okay. So we've only had 2 messages. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya akhi al-habib. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam, our dear brothers in Kosovo and Macedonia. May Allah bless you guys. May Allah bless you guys. Wa alaikum assalam, Walalo, Muhammad, Ali, Muhammad, Farantai. Just that say Somali way of saying assalamu alaikum. So, af Somali one ko hadlaya. Wa alaikum assalam, Walal, Muhammad. Okay, guys, who else is here? Who else is here? Come and say hello. We'll hang out for a little bit if you guys have any questions at all. It can be about anything, actually. If you have questions about the Arabic in 60 Steps program, questions about joining the program, questions about what we do on the program, questions about learning Arabic generally are also fine. Yeah, we'll take it from there. Or if you are satisfied, then I can let you guys get on with your night. Good. I'll hang out for a little bit then. Or we can do something else. Maybe I will fill the gap a little bit and tell you a bit about the plans that we have coming up on the YouTube channel, inshallah. So, so going forward, inshallah, we're planning for 3 videos a week going forward. I'm not sure if we'll start that this coming week or the following week, but we'll plan to do that. I think Wednesday will be podcast day, where we'll have more longer form conversations between myself and other Arabic teachers or Arabic students. Sometimes it will be students of mine come onto the channel to teach something. Sometimes it will be other people who have learned or are teaching the Arabic language as well to come and teach you guys something. So some of the guests that we have lined up, one of them is Simon from Simon Says Squat. He speaks Arabic and he's studying in Dubai at the moment. So he's a guest that we have lined up. He also speaks Somali as well, actually, and sign language as well, and obviously Swedish because he is Swedish. So we've got him lined up. We also have at Arabic with Cats, or Sister Yulia. She has an Instagram account. So planning to have her on the channel as well. I'm trying to get, we're trying to get one of my students, someone called Matthew, because he's a professor of Spanish. And I'd really like to have him on the channel to talk about Arabic, the Arabic and Spanish link a little bit too. So we've just had the question. So can we have more informal podcasts too, like the Freshly Grounded style? Yeah, so like that's what we're going to be doing every Wednesday, inshallah. 1 hour long episodes, but with me and like an Arabic student or another Arabic teacher or something like that. And that's what we'll do on those days, inshallah. But on this channel, it'll all be around learning Arabic. I would like to do like a more kind of lifestyle and just general Muslim podcast on my Sam Martin Burr channel, but people come to my channel to learn Arabic, so I really want to give them that and introduce people to them. But I think a lot of people enjoyed my episode with Habib recently. I don't know if you watched my recent podcast with Habib from Ihsan, but that was really cool. I really enjoyed that, actually. I think that's a medium that I just really enjoy, and I like doing that, so I'd like to do more of those. So Wednesdays, long-form podcast day. Fridays, Arabic walkthroughs like today, like Layla with Dhib and whatever other stories we go through, right? So I plan on that being those being a series, but it may not be. We may do just like a new text every day or something like that. There's some poetry that I'd like us to go through and some things like that too on the channel. But what's the channel name? So I have a personal channel as well. Oh, you mean Habib? Yeah, Habib Ali. But he doesn't use his name on his Instagram and stuff. Go onto Instagram and it's at ihsan.arabic, I believe. Yeah, but if you go onto my channel and go to my most recent podcast episode, you'll see a picture of me and him next to each other. And that's the most recent episode. Yeah. We talked about loads in that episode. We talked about general flaws in teaching Arabic from the Arabic teacher community, as well as a lot about his journey. Because him and I, we met at university. I was in my final year of my Arabic degree, and he was in his first year, and we lived in the same building in that first year. That was when we met, and him and I, we used to go to the masjid together a lot, and I used to spend a lot of time with him at university and things like that, and I just knew he was a good brother. So, but obviously at the time, neither of us knew that we would go on to create YouTube channels and stuff. But you should go back on iEra. I know that episode, that rerouted podcast, I really enjoyed it. Like the whole vibe in that building and all the brothers who work there and everything. Like they've got such a good team. And I met Mohammed Hijab that day as well, actually, in the iEra building, because I stayed afterwards and I got a burger with the brothers there and stuff as well. But I really enjoyed that conversation. It was a shame how short it was. Like really, Ben and I, we could have done like a 2-hour episode, I think. But I really enjoyed that episode. I really enjoyed the in-person ones. I like the vibe of it. Like at some point in the future, I'd really love to kind of to fly people to my studio here in Somalia. I would love to do that in the future. Like if Faisal wanted to come onto my podcast or whatever, fly him from Dubai here to Somalia to come on the podcast, and it'd be a good way for us to kind of show some of the influencers a bit more about Somalia and stuff too. Would be really cool. But that's something to think about another day. Yeah, Habib is his name. There's a question about the Arabic in 60 steps. Okay, let me come back to Marawi's Mondays in a second. So Arabic in 60 Steps program. What is the structure of this program? Excellent. So it is a grammar in use program essentially. So although the first lesson starts with how to put words together, second lesson how to put some other bits onto sentences and how to build different types of sentences, and we move into past tense verbs and present tense verbs, etc. Until we go through all of the main grammar of the Arabic language to a point where we can access Arabic texts in the last kind of 9 steps. We do, some of the texts we go through. Obviously, we do Quran from Mecca and Quran from Medina. We do Hadith literature as well as historical texts like Al-Baladhari and travel writings like Rihlat ibn Battuta and Rihlat ibn Jubayr. We go through classical Arabic poetry like I go through some Middle Ages poetry like the work of Al-Mutanabbi, and we do some classical stuff as well, like from Hassan ibn Thabit radiallahu anhu, who was the Prophet's poet, as well as some modern stuff as well, like Ahmad Matar and Nizar Qabbani, some of his poetry as well. So our graduates have read some really iconic Arabic poetry and can access it. But the reason why I call it a grammar in use program is because I want to distinguish it between a grammar as theory program. It's not that. It's not this is the theory of how you build a sentence. It's like these are the tools, and then we practice it. This is how you'll see it in the Quran. This is how you'll see it used in conversation. This is how you'll see it used in all these different ways. So there's lots of translation, lots of producing Arabic as well. Yes, that's what it looks like. Students who join, at the moment they get lifetime access, but that might change. This is what the workbook looks like. This is my one. I send one of these to you in the post. There's no extra cost to send it to you anywhere in the world. We've sent our workbooks all over the Middle East and Latin America, Australia, Somalia. In fact, I've had some students here in Somalia that have sent workbooks to. So yeah, we send workbooks to all the students. But we've got some changes coming up in the new year, inshallah. We haven't finalized any of those yet, but after the new year, I don't think we'll be able to do the lifetime access thing anymore. We won't be able to do that. So if the lifetime access thing matters to you, join the program soon, inshallah, at least before the end of the year. Good. Okay, what else did we have? We had a question about Marawi's Mondays, actually. Let me get into that. So yeah, so Marawi's Mondays is a little show that I used to do on my Sam of Somalia channel. Basically, what happened to it? So basically, I moved to Somalia, and I kind of didn't really know how public I should be with that. So I just kind of took a step back from the Somali content just for a little while, because although it would be brilliant for like viewers and everything, like if I did like I'm in Somalia vlog and everything, like that's YouTube gold, that is. But of course, your safety has to come first and everything. And whilst like I've not seen any issues here in Somalia, like I feel safe here. I feel safer here than I ever did in North London, honestly. Like things like petty crime and stuff are unheard of here. Those aren't problems. But I don't know. It's just when I'm, now I'm new here and stuff. I don't think it really serves me to be like famous and well known here and like really active in a Somali YouTube channel and stuff. I don't really want people recognizing me and things like that. Maybe at some point, inshallah. But at the moment, there's still political issues going on here, and I'd rather just keep my head down and focus on teaching, focus on that sort of stuff. And that's all. So I took a step back from the Sam of Somalia stuff. That's all. I'm not saying that's going to be long term. I'm not saying that's like a long term decision. But for the meantime, while I'm figuring out what my life looks like here in Somalia, that's where we are. Let me have a look at what else you guys have got for me. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah. I'm glad that you enjoyed the Freshly Ground or the I Era episode. How's Somalia? I love it here. This is my home now. SQ, Salam Sam. Wa alaikum salam. Hope you're doing well. I'm very well, alhamdulillah. Is it possible for you to make a video where you'll have a full conversation with someone in Arabic Fusha, like a podcast episode to see the language in action? Taban. Yeah, we can absolutely do that at some point. I'm not sure who with though. But we can, inshallah. I would actually like to have my Arabic teacher come onto my podcast at some point. He actually doesn't know that I have a YouTube channel and stuff. Like my Arabic teacher, I've been having Arabic lessons with him for a little while, and he doesn't know that this is what I do. But at some point I'd like to tell him and then welcome him onto the channel, and him and I have a conversation. Him and I, we only speak Fusha to each other. Like I don't know if he speaks English. He might speak some. but I'm not sure. Yeah, so I'd like to have him on the channel. He'd be a really good person. Yeah, but we can absolutely do that, inshallah. I'd also like to start some call-in shows. So like we've kind of got a schedule that I was just laying out a second ago about like Wednesdays we're going to do kind of long form podcasts, Fridays we're going to do walkthroughs of Arabic stories, and then Sundays we'll do like a little surprise. It'll be a snippet from a bit of poetry, maybe we'll do something from the Quran, maybe we'll do some muhadatha, we'll do some conversation, or maybe we'll learn an ibara, we'll learn a little phrase or something. Like we'll just do something on a Sunday. It'll be a surprise. But so that's kind of like 3 videos a week kind of plan. But in addition to that, when we get to a stage where we can, yeah, I would like to do a live call-in show every week. Like you might have seen some YouTubers using our software called StreamYard, where people can basically I could just have the StreamYard link in the description of this video, and then you can just go and click on it and you can join. And like in that, I'm sure there'll be lots of people who would like to come on and just have little conversations with me in Arabic, even if it's Assalamu alaikum, كيف الحال, كيف العائلة, هم جيدون, كيف الأطفال, كيف الصغار, how are the kids, even if it's like simple stuff like this, it's still very nice for people to listen to. So, yeah. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Is he starting a pod doing that? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that was referring to. Okay. I mean. Yeah, I'd really love to do that. I'd also like to give him a platform as well. Like he's just a brilliant Arabic teacher and he's really good to me. He gives me a lot of his time, mashallah, and he's really good to me. And I'd really like to put him on and get him more students if he wants them, or whatever he wants out of it. Inshallah, it'd be nice for us to do that for him, and I'd plead with my audience to support him as well, however they can, whether it be following his page. I don't think he has any pages on social media or anything, but whatever we could do to, to give him something, that'd be nice. نعم مدرسي العربية هو أصلا من سوريا لكن هو يعيش في خرطوم الآن. خرطوم هي عاصمة السودان. نعم. Yeah, he's originally in Syria, but he lives in Khartoum. نعم. Yeah, he lives in Khartoum in Sudan now. Yes. Thank you very much, you guys who have liked the video, by the way. We've got more likes than people watching at the moment, which is pretty unusual. If any of you guys are here and haven't liked the video, please do so for me. That's like one of YouTubers' big indicators of whether they push a video. Have you thought about opening a business in Somalia? Lots of young diaspora kids have done it. So, yes, there's lots of Somali diaspora in the Qurba Jog. There's lots of them. Come back here, open businesses, cafes and ice cream places or whatever it might be. It could be anything, right? So as I mentioned at the end of my episode on Freshly Grounded, I mentioned that is a desire of mine. Like, not so much as a profit-making venture, but I'd like to just contribute something. Like it is a contribution in Somalia to even just be living here and spending your money here. Like that is a contribution here, you know. But I'd like to do something that pays local people. Like let me show you something. So show you guys something actually. So recently I saw an advert for this. Have you seen this soap? Any of you guys who are in like any manosphere stuff? You've probably been marketed to this. Some of this stuff has probably been marketed at you, this soap, right? So this is like a men's soap brand from America. They do like this hand-cut soap. It's all natural and everything. And I bought 3 samples of these that are all fruit flavors. Because here in Somalia, we have everything that we need to produce soap like this, right? Like in my family, we have someone who grows mangoes and papaya. And so in our family, we have like people who grow that stuff, right? And you can make obviously butter from the mango from the mango seeds inside, and we could have so many flavors. There's so much that grows here in Somalia, like all the fats that you'd need to make soap grow here in Somalia. And it's also an industry that would be really good here because so natural soap, it has no negative impact on the environment. Right? Like perhaps the infrastructure for cleaning water and stuff like that isn't as sophisticated here yet as what it is in some Western countries, for example. So here it's maybe more important to not be using chemicals in your products and stuff like that. So like if you can have people using like natural ingredients to create a product like this, and also the profit margins must be massive on things like this. Like honestly, these bars, they sell these on their website for £8 a bar. right? In one of my Instagram stories on my personal Instagram recently, I was roasting them a little bit for some of the things that they sell. Like I'll show you, yeah. So these are two bars that I'm using at the moment, right? This one is a coconut one, and this one is a cedar citrus one. But this thing, they call it a soap saver, but it's a bit of wood. It's a bit of wood, right? And I only have it because it came with a subscription. That's the only reason I have it. But they sell that for £16 on their website, right? Like, soap can be big business, right? And it's also just a business that is good for the country. So like I like that kind of thing. I like these kind of win-win-win situations where you can hire local people. Like the skills that need to go into it aren't like, it's not like we'd need people with Western degrees or something to make soap. Like I've looked into the science of how you make it and stuff like that. And there's even an industry here already for making soap. There is soap that's made from the marrow of camel bones here. They actually do that here. I don't believe they use that soap on their skin. They use it for washing like medical clothing and stuff like that doctors use. But anyway, point being, the natural soap is a good industry to have a chunk of, right? Because it's high profit and it's also just clean. Right, it's clean and also it's also a high profit margin because these things are so light and they're so uniform. Like for shipping them, they're small enough to go through a letterbox. Like it's such a good little business, right? And but at the very least, what I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to create a little recipe, maybe for a mango one or a coconut one, because we grow mangoes and coconuts here in Somalia. I might just make some soap with my sons. It'll be a good little home fun activity for me to do with our sons anyway. Worst case scenario is we end up with some bad soap that we'll just use at home, right? But if it goes well, then I'll be interested in something like that. Another industry that I think would be really good to get into would be coffee. So like, coffee is a really good industry for your country because it doesn't create conflict with wildlife generally. Like if you grow, like a lot of my family, if you grow papaya or you grow bananas or you grow mangoes, like in some place in Africa, like Uganda, for example, have an issue with this where you're going to have a problem with your chimpanzees or your monkeys or whatever, or whatever animals, right? Like anything, elephants, zebras, they all eat fruit, right? So if you grow fruit like that, it's inevitably going to create conflict with your local wildlife, right? But like coffee doesn't have that problem. Chimpanzees don't eat coffee. Elephants don't eat coffee, right? Like you won't find your farmers having conflict with their local wildlife. So like that's a really good industry, and it's massively lucrative, obviously, because we're all addicted up to our eyeballs in coffee. So, and also like if you look at the map, the countries that are big on producing coffee, like Kenya is just massive in it, Ethiopia massive, Uganda massive in the coffee industry, but Somalia has barely any. Like Somalia is just not in the game at all, and it could be because it has the climate for good coffee. So yeah, that'd be another interesting industry to pursue. But at the moment, I'm just finding my feet in my new home, and I'm doing my thing, running my Arabic language course. I'm hoping to push the pace a little bit more on the YouTube channel and the podcast and stuff too. Now that we're a little bit more settled, inshallah. And those are some things I'd think about at a later date. Yeah, if I can be of use. Yeah. Where are we? Have you ever faced any sort of anxiety? Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. I've done some quite stressful things. Yeah. I never got help with it or anything like that though. Because of that, I couldn't compare it to someone else's experience with anxiety. But yeah, why'd you ask? I had some anxiety before I moved to Somalia. That can be quite anxiety inducing. I'd never been before, never even visited. Yeah. But alhamdulillah. Okay, where are we? Yeah, I was aware that lots of soaps, because lots of soaps that aren't made from bone marrow, they say they're vegan soaps and stuff, don't they? But these are probably vegan soaps. If you're looking at the ingredients, they are vegan soaps, but given their demographic, they wouldn't wouldn't care to market that they're vegan. It's probably products more targeted towards left-leaning people, and that are probably have a higher percentage of women in the demographic that would care about a vegan product. The men who buy this probably don't care if it's a vegan product or not, but they are. Looking at them, it's all coconut oils, it's all palm oil. That's not one of the ones that's ethical, is it? Palm oil. Yeah, shea butter. Yeah, it is vegan. It's a vegan product, but yeah, I've seen a little documentary about how in Somalia they make soap out of camel bone marrow. We've got tons of camels here. They're actually more expensive than I thought. People have made jokes in the past about getting like a camel as your mahar. You'd be so lucky. They're expensive. Camels aren't cheap. They're like the price of cars. Like in Somalia, they're the price of cars. You know, if you want to buy like a big healthy camel, especially near the time of like Eid, especially Eid al-Adha, like you might be able to buy a Toyota here, probably a second-hand one or whatever, for $1,500, $2,000. A big camel like that'll set you back that sort of price, you know. So they ain't cheap. Yeah, obviously, yeah, Ethiopia are killing it with coffee, like they're, you know. Well, yeah, and you like go into coffee shops and stuff, and you see where their coffee's from. It's often from Ethiopia. I think the real one's always like Guatemala for their coffee. That the people who are really into it always go for Guatemala. But yeah, Ethiopia's massive. Industry's massive. Yeah. When I was in Uganda, I noticed there was a big coffee industry there as well, but the locals didn't seem to drink it. The locals seemed to drink tea, but they had a massive coffee industry there, though. Yeah. Here in Somalia, it seems harder to get, like in the UK, where you might like go to Costa and have a flat white or a latte or something. It seems harder to find that kind of coffee here. Like you can go to a restaurant and stuff, and you can have qahwa Somali, and they make it with anogel. They'll make your coffee with Somali with camel milk. Yeah, camel milk's a funny one, actually. I had tonsillitis a few weeks ago. I was really sick, right? So obviously everyone brought anogel, everyone brought camel milk for me to drink. So I found myself chugging camel milk for a few days. Here in Mogadishu, they sell it in bags. You can buy they're like little sandwich bags. Or they're like bags in the past when you could have got like fish at the fair. You could win like a little bag with a goldfish in it. They're like that. Like you buy... I don't know, like the people who brought it, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the transaction in live, right? But the people who brought it for me, like it looks like they've just got a bag, milked the camel into the bag and then just given it to you. But it has like it's not just that. It's probably been through the process where they put the anogel into the deal and they put the coal in it and shake it, because it tasted obviously like it's had charcoal in it. But yeah. That's what it's like. What else we got? Have I missed anything? Anogel tastes like Snickers. I didn't get that. But maybe because mine had the charcoal thing going on. What have we got? I'm learning sarf now. Any tips to memorize the way the words change? Yeah, جاهد يجاهد مثلا. I don't know if you're trying to get me in trouble with that example, but okay, so let me just so to be honest, I don't really see, in my teaching of the Arabic language, I don't separate nahw and sarf. What I really care about is the application of it generally. So there are lessons that are clearly sarf, right? There are lessons that are that, but yeah, so there's just the lesson. It's just the word you're using, of course. Yeah, I wasn't actually mean you're trying to get me into trouble, but so how do you remember them? I mean, what like for the example you gave with verbs specifically, whenever I deliver a new verb to a student, I'm always giving them. I use a different verb. Marasa, yumarisu, mumarasa. I'm always giving them the past, the present, and the masdar. And I think it's good practice to memorize them like that. Just to know when you hear another word, qatala yuqatilu qitalun. Like it's always good just to remember the madi, the mudari', the masdar. Just remember those as like a three because it gets your brain used to past tense, present tense. And then once you've got those, it's easier to work down from them through like the different conjugations. So I'd say that, but I don't know. I like my students to have like a go-to example for any verb. Like for example, if they know for the form, let's say the form for, right? If they know how أخرج يخرج إخراج works, أخرج يخرج. They just know أخرج يخرج. When they come across the verb أسلم, they know أسلم يسلم. When they come across the verb أنزل, they know أنزل ينزل. Just have one go-to example of each kind of verb type in your head, and when you see something that's on the same wazn, you'll know how it behaves because you have like a go-to example in your head. I mean, that's just a brief little thing that I'd say that I kind of use in my work as well. Best way to retain vocab: see it applied. So, quite honestly, I don't like vocab lists. They're boring. Like, you know how if you read a book sometimes, or if you say a word lots of times again and again, it kind of loses its meaning. Like if we were say, hello, 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 hello. You hear it so many, like it loses its meaning. It stops being associated with the concept of hello, right? I find vocab lists are a little bit like that. Like when you have flashcards and stuff for individual words. So what I like is rather than vocab lists, I like to have phrase lists. I have a phrase, and in my language learning, I do loads of self-talk. I like, just because I'm quite introverted generally, I don't really like go out and have loads of conversations with people. So I'm sitting by myself and I'm talking by myself and I'm imagining myself saying a certain thing to a certain person, and I'm imagining really vividly how that would work. And there's a lot of kind of psychocybernetics into that as well. If any of you have read Maxwell Maltz, Psychocybernetics, an idea that he puts forward in that book is that our brains can't really distinguish between things that have actually happened and things that you've vividly imagined to have happened. So I really train my brain to believe that I'm a fluent speaker of Urdu and of Spanish and Arabic and Somali. Like I really convinced my brain that. And phrases are more conducive to that kind of style of learning than vocab. So I encourage phrase lists rather than vocab lists, and even that in itself helps you memorize vocab, because the more kind of contexts that you see an individual word in, the longer term your memory of it will be. If you see the word, let's say sabun, as I've got soap, it's sabun, right? If you think about a sentence on how to say sabun, أنا أستخدم الصابون في كل صباح, like I use soap every morning, or أو أنا اشتريت صابون في السوق, I bought soap in the market, or whatever. You think about all these different kind of ways that you would use soap. You use the word sabun in a conversation or whatever, then you build more connections in your brain for it, and I just think it's more applied. So that's how I like to expand my vocabulary, because it's entangled, isn't it, with actually how we speak and how we use it. Let me have a look. Anything else? Good. Any tips for motivation? Do I believe in motivation? I don't know if I don't think about things in those terms really. I more think of like just what I want in life. And if an activity aligns with what I want in life, then I'll just do it. I don't know, it's good to train yourself to be able to do things regardless of whether you're motivated or not. Sometimes you won't be motivated. And also sometimes in our head we get things the wrong way around. Sometimes we think that we need emotion before motion, but it's the other way around. Sometimes we think we need to be feeling the emotion of being really interested in something to get us into it. But actually, it's the other way around. It's actually if you start doing something, even if you're not motivated and you don't have the emotion for it, you start the motion for it because you know it aligns with your values and what you want. The emotion for it will develop out of it, and actually really quickly. That's what I find anyway, because you won't always be motivated. Sorry, I'm not. But like I have a schedule of things that I do every day. Like there's things that I do every day, but without question, right? Like I do some lessons in Al-Madrasat Al-Umariyya. There's Ustad Abdul Rahman Hassan's online Islamic Studies Academy. I do that every day. Right, I do like at least half an hour, the very least, right, of some Islamic studies in that academy. I read the Quran every day. I pursue with my hifz every day, right? It's just something that I do. I always do a little workout every day, right? It's usually jump rope at the moment. I'm into jump rope, but it could be anything, right? Like, and I'm often not motivated. Often I'm not, like, but you just do it. It's in the calendar. It aligns with your values. You want to be a certain person, so you do it. You know. And sometimes I fall in and out of love with these things. Okay, where are we? The word sabun is in Urdu too. Oh, is it? Cool. Urdu is giving me some problems, Yeah, because Urdu has lots of words that are borrowed from Arabic through Persian, right? But it also has lots of like false friends. So, for example, in Arabic, the word makan means a place in Arabic. In Urdu, makan means a house. Or like a home, that means a house. Even like, and then there are some words that do mean the same thing. So the word wadih in Arabic means clear, right? Vazih in Urdu means clear, means the same thing, right? Yeah, so there are some false friends. Somalia has some as well, actually, yeah. Na'na in Arabic means mint. You can have tea with na'na. But in Somali, nina or na'na, it means a sweet, right? You buy nina for the kids, right? Yeah, so Somali has lots of those, and Urdu has lots of them as well. Yeah, I actually mentioned one today. If you guys were listening in the Layla with dhib, we came across the verb intadara, which means to wait. And intizar in Urdu means waiting, right? Intizar karke. I know that from a Bollywood film that I overheard. Yeah. Maine intizar karke. Yeah. That's the good stuff. Yeah. What can we expect in the 12 one-to-one sessions? Anything you like. To a degree, obviously. So I offer to students on the Arabic in 60 Steps program an option to do like a 12 lesson program with me. And we can really design it around however you wish. Yes. But we'd have a consultation about that. If you were to enroll on that, then we'd have a meeting about what exactly you want, and I'd think about if I can deliver it or not. But it's 12 hours of one-on-one time with me, which we can do as you wish. ممكن نتكلم اللغة العربية فيها. We can speak Arabic in it only if you wish. أو ممكن نقرأ بعض النصوص العربية من التاريخ. We can read some Arabic texts from history, or whatever you like, inshallah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But at the moment, it would also depend on my availability as well. I could do it at the moment, but we're running the intensive program at the moment, Arabic in 60 Steps intensive. Shout out to the students who are on that program at the moment. So I'm fairly busy with those students, but I'm going to take another batch of intensive students in March. Inshallah, that'll be our next one, because my current students on the intensive program will graduate in probably early January. And then I'll look to take another maybe 8 to 10 students for an intensive program starting in March. But the intensive program's like 3 or 4 months of like 4 hours a week with me. So it's pretty intensive for this kind of thing. Okay, where are we? Assalamu alaikum. How are you finding the Al-Madrasat Al-Umariyya course? So my favorite subject is obviously Lugha. But like in the course, they have like an introduction to seeking knowledge. They have a course of that everybody has to do. And then they have like the main topics, Aqidah, sciences of the Quran, Hadith, and Lugha is one of them. And Lugha is, of course, my favorite. Yeah. I love language dearly. I love language as a concept, and Arabic is the language of languages. So Lugha is my thing. Like when I was kind of in my early 20s and stuff, a lot of people, and I really had a level of desire to apply to Islamic University of Medina, and I kind of had a desire to specialize in Arabic, because after you finish After you finish the ma'ahad, where you learn the Arabic language, you can specialize for your baccalaureate. Some people do hadith, like Ustaz Tim Humble, he did hadith, and so did our brother Ismail Beaumont as well. Rahimahullah. He's specialized in hadith, and but I thought if I went, I would have been among the few people who specialize in al-lugha, because there aren't many people like in the public space, are there? Like people in the da'wah and stuff who specialize in lugha from Medina, but there's lots who do da'wah, there's lots who specialize in da'wah, because I think you can choose between like da'wah, fiqh, hadith, Quran, and lugha. I think those are the options. I've come across people who specialized in da'wah and people who specialized in hadith, but not so many of the others. What is the difference between classical Arabic and modern? It's all Arabic. I don't know. I don't like to complicate that much. Like the difference is really like choices of vocabulary. Is really that's all I'd say to most students. It's all Arabic. It's all Arabic. That's what I'd say. I don't like to go into that. You just have fusha, you know. How do they look at you, you being white and British in the masjid in Somalia? So people don't assume I'm English here. Obviously, I walk around with family who are all Somalis and everything, and like when I go to the masjid and stuff, there's other people who look like me, but they're Syrians and Turks. Like there are people from Syria, people from Yemen, and Turks and stuff here. Like in Mogadishu, they're used to having foreigners here. Not like there's an area called Halane, which is close to the airport, and there's everybody there. Like there's English people walking about, Italians walking about, like Germans there. Like there's people everywhere. People doing all kinds of business and stuff there. Lots of there are like military bases, I think, around there as well. So there are Americans and stuff too. But outside of Halane, there are like other, but Muslim, mostly foreigners, right? Like if you go into like the center or whatever, you go to Hayat Mall or anything, you'll see people from India, you'll see people from Kenya a lot. Like, but in the masjid, people don't usually think that I'm English. People assume that I'm either Syrian or Turkish. Turkish mostly near the airport. I remember when I arrived with my wife, I heard a Assalamu alaikum from behind me, which is like, when you hear Kim, you know they're Turkish brothers, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam. I said back, alaikum assalam. Yeah. But, that's funny. Someone said something about the ad-ads. So as well, another thing is that Somalia is diverse, as you rightly say. Even like people who live in Mogadishu, people who speak fluent Somali and everything, like they're diverse. You get some Barwanis who are like, obviously Barawa isn't Mogadishu, obviously, but you have Barwanis here as well, who lots of them are lighter skinned. And then people call that Adads. Like Adad isn't a term that I only really encountered it when I moved here, but I knew those people as Red Hamar. Red Hamar are like lighter skinned people. Many of my family are actually married to Red Hamar, and they're lighter skinned. Like my children, people think that my children are Red Hamar. They think that either like my children, they think that their dad is Red Hamar or Arab or something. But they're quite Somali looking, my children, so it's been fairly easy for them. Yeah. There was one person who suggested to gain vocabulary repeated at least 250 times. That includes past, present, amr, mastar. Which say this is too much. That sounds really boring. If you've got it in you to do that, then ahlan wa sahlan, but that just sounds so boring. To repeat something that many times, I don't know. If something doesn't go into my brain after repeating it 5 times, I think I've got to switch up this approach. I need to do something a little bit more sophisticated to get this into the brain. There's got to be something better than just repeating it that many times. Like as I was saying earlier, like saying something that many times, in my experience, takes the meaning away from it completely. Like just like just when we say a word in English, if we say hello, 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 hello enough times, the word hello just loses its meaning. And I find that happens when we're learning vocabulary as well. So I like things to be applied. Even ethnic Somalis come in a lot of shades, often in one family even. Sometimes you have, sometimes you have one family where like there's like really black dad, like mum who's like not quite as dark skinned. They have like kids who are like one's like really pale, another one's really black, another one's like one other one's brown, another one's somewhere in between. So sometimes you have that, Even my in-laws and my wife, mashallah, she's got a lot of brothers and sisters, and like even though they all look like each other because they've got the same mum and dad, like you know they're all different skin. They're not even all the same skin tone. Yeah, even my two sons. And my two sons, they're not like of the same skin tone. Yunus is much lighter than Yusuf. Yeah, but Yusuf looks a lot like me. It's kind of weird. People look at us and they think Yusuf looks like a Somali version of me, but Yunus looks like an English version of his mum. It's really strange. But yeah. People are like before we had our first. A lot of people said to me that like Somali genes aren't strong. So when they have mixed children, they often look like the other culture. That hasn't really been our experience. Not with Yusuf anyway. Yusuf, he looks Somali. Yeah, so does Yunus as well. Yeah, even different hair and stuff. Yeah, that's true. Somali families, man. Like, I've seen some really funny stuff on TikTok about that. Like, there'll be like a Somali TikTok or whatever, and they do a TikTok with like their siblings in something, and people comment with the emojis of like a really black dude, a really light skinned dude, like a brown guy with like curly hair, and like a brown guy with straight hair, all in one family. Yeah, mashallah. Yeah, it's sweet. But I mean, I don't know. In English families as well, like me, like my like hair and beard color and skin tone and stuff is a lot like my dad. Like my dad's really dark haired, dark bearded, like tans really easily like I do. You wouldn't believe it looking at me at the moment, like a ghost. But like my sister, like blonde, blue eyes. My brother, like sort of like brown, gingery hair, ginger beard. My brother's got. Three we look completely different. Yeah. Yeah, subhanallah. Alhamdulillah. All right. I'll head off, inshallah. It's late here. Well, late for me anyway. I tend to sleep early here. But honestly, like, if any of you guys are considering moving to a Muslim majority country, like one of the countries closer to the equator, something that I love about it here is that the salah times are at a consistent time. Like, honestly, if you're a person who cares about like productivity in your life, like you're in a business or whatever, like I do, and you want a morning routine, good luck having a long-term morning routine in the UK. Good luck with that, right? Because sometimes you'll have to get up for Fajr at 2 a.m. Sometimes you're going to have to be getting up for Fajr at 7:30. Sometimes Fajr is going to be at 5 o'clock in the morning. You'll need to have like a reassessment of your morning routine every month. Almost definitely. That's what you're going to need to do in the UK. But here in Somalia, it's like 4:40, you hear the adhan. 4:40, you hear the adhan. Like you're praying in the masjid at 5 or whatever, and you're back home by 5:05 or 5:10 or whatever. You do whatever you want. Like that's the time in the morning. I do an hour and a half of al-madrasa al-Umariyya, and I do about an hour and a half of languages, and then I do a workout. My workout's really short in the morning. That's what I was doing in the morning because my kids and my wife are asleep at that point. So, and then but by the time I don't like to have coffee straight away in the morning. I find it like it dulls how well I receive coffee when I have it like straight away. So I always have coffee when I'm doing my languages, which is like an hour and a half after I've woken up. But anyway, like I have like a good routine and everything because you actually can have a consistent routine with your timings and everything because the salah times, they just don't change. We don't even change our clocks here. Obviously in the UK and lots of states in the US, you've changed your clocks recently. We don't do that here in Somalia. Why would we? We have the perfect amount of daylight. Okay. How long do you sleep? So I sleep from 11 until 5 pretty much, or just before, quarter to 11 till quarter to 5. That's what I sleep, 6 hours, and I have a qaylula in the afternoon. Yeah, I try to have my qaylula in the afternoon after dhuhr, so like 12:30 until 2. That's like the time that I want to. Sometimes I just have it after fajr. Sometimes, right? But if I pray fajr and I'm really tired and I just want to have a nap, I'll have a nap on the sofa. Yeah, but then I'll move my studies and my workout to the afternoon when I would have slept. It's bad to do that. I'd rather leave it to the afternoon. I prefer to do that, but if it's worst case scenario and I just know I'm not going to be productive or I'm going to be able to focus on studying, then I just sleep. I give myself the sleep. But in total, 7.5 hours. I'm under the impression that humans, we typically sleep in like 90-minute cycles, more or less, right? And we should more or less get 5 of them a day, more or less. So I try to aim for that. I try to shoot for that. Like when I have a nap and stuff, I do it in 90-minute cycles. Yeah. And I don't drink coffee late either. That's another one that I've stopped doing. I've noticed my sleep improved massively because of it. Yeah. Yeah, there's something that our Ustad Abdul Rahman Hassan, he speaks about every now and again, about the importance of not oversleeping and having good quality sleep and stuff like that. Like the talib al-ilm shouldn't be sleeping 10, 11 hours a day, But we're not in need of something like, we're not in need of that really. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Okay guys, Jazakumullah khairan for coming to join me. Thank you all very much for being part of it. Please make dua for my students and for the project in general. And yeah, that's it for now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.